For my movie review, I chose the movie Radio. I chose this movie because it portrays how people with disabilities should and should not be treated within their community. The movie Radio is about a football coach, Harold Jones, who became friends with a boy who had an unknown disability. His name was James Robert Kennedy. However, everyone called him Radio because he always walked around with a radio. Radio was raised by his mother, who worked most of the time. She didn't have much time to look after Radio throughout the day. When Coach Jones asked her about Radio, she said, quote unquote, "The doctors couldn't give me a name for it. They said he was just a little slower than most." Coach Jones looked out for Radio. He let Radio attend football games on the sidelines, and he enrolled Radio in the high school, so he was able to attend some of his classes. He tried to show the school system and his community of what was right and wrong of treating Radio differently. Radio was portrayed in a positive and negative light. In the beginning of the movie, Radio was being bullied by some high school football players. They had tied and locked Radio up in a shed by throwing a football at the door. Radio was scared, and he just wanted to go home to his mother. In another incident, some basketball team members had tricked him into going into the girls' locker room. However, Radio did not tell on the team members because he didn't want the coach to be mad. When Coach Jones went to the principal about letting Radio attend a football game at another school and even attending their school, the principal emphasized that Radio was handicapped, and no one in their school knew about students who were handicapped. She stated, "What if he have a seizure or something?" And she questioned whether Coach Jones was just using the boy for a mascot for his team. She wouldn't allow Radio to ride the bus to go to the football game. Some members of the community thought Radio shouldn't be allowed on the sidelines of the football games, claiming he was a distraction. They even went to the school board members to stop allowing Radio to be able to come to school. The school board described him as a severely retarded man, a term we no longer use. Radio was even arrested while giving out Christmas gifts to his community. However, there was some positivity throughout the movie. Radio's community began to show passion towards him. They brought him gifts for Christmas, and he started to make a friendly connection with students from the high school. In the end, he became a coach for that high school. Coach Jones had made a big impact on his life. Radio's disability was unknown throughout the movie. The doctors didn't give his mother any answers of what was wrong with her son. As stated earlier, the doctor described him as a little slower than others. However, I believe Radio shows signs of an intellectual disability. Radio seems to have trouble processing information, and he portrayed this various times in the movie. In one scene, the football players threw a football over the fence in Radio's basket. Radio grabs the football and the boys ask for the ball. Radio pauses and then he just walks off. Later, the football coach sees Radio and Radio tries to give it back after the coach has told him to keep it. It took him a little longer to process what the coach was saying. Radio can't read or write. Radio gave announcements at school of what lunch was. As the lady told him what to say, Radio showed he had trouble processing what she was saying, and he even mispronounced some of the words. His vocabulary was very limited, and he didn't make proper sentences most of the time. He didn't have the best social skills. In the beginning of the movie, he would rarely make eye contact with anyone who talked to him, and he wouldn't respond. He has trouble with daily life skills. His mother helped him pick out his clothes. I think if people were to watch this film, they will learn to look beyond the disability. They will see the true potential in that person, and they will learn to help them be a part of their community.